Hello and welcome to another episode of Mage Game Weekly. Today we'll be playing as Zerg player in the bottom right, Candy side. Way unique name compared to Space Marine. Alright, so as always, we start the game with a 9 pylon, 13 gate. Let's get some in-game music. Or not. So 9 pylon, 13 gate, 15 gas, 16 pylon, and an 18 cybernetics core. This is the same build we used to fast expand versus Terran. But the difference is the follow-up, and of course the follow-up is with Zerg. It usually is a Zealot that can block the ramp, in the wall in the ramp, and a Sentry that can kind of shoot the Lynx that is attacking the wall. But this opening is basically the same. You just gotta change the follow-up. So we're gonna Chrono Boost as soon as our pylon is finished, and make our gateway at 13 as always, and then follow it up with a 15 gas. So at this point, we just want to be expanding because we're gonna need a lot of resources when we're gonna make a push. So instead of being committed to something, you should always try to expand. And this is a really important note. If a Zerg ever scouts, you're gonna cancel your gas, all kind of gas income, cancel your assimilator, um, and only go for probes and a gateway. Because if a Zerg scouts on a two-player map, he's probably going for a hatch first. And as we can see on the production tab, he probably is. Yes, that's a hatch first. And that is why we're gonna go skip the gas and go for the immediately nexus. But he's still trying to block, so we're gonna pull the probe, and it's really important. You always have two probes to kind of kill the drone, because otherwise your nexus will be too much delayed. And of course, one drone wins versus a probe, because it Zerg units regenerates HP, while probes regenerates shield if it hasn't been in a fight in 10 seconds. So we're still gonna do the same, but we're gonna delay it a little bit. And of course, it's the same way. You build a cybercore, I mean a simulator, pylon, cybercore, and then you continue probe. This is not about the build. In this replay, I want to show you guys how to fight as a player, but the build is of course the same, except for if he scouts, then you're gonna cut all gas, but do the exact same thing. So as you can see, Zealot follow up, warp gate, and as soon as you have enough, you're gonna go for a sentry and mothership core. And all the chrono boost, you want to be using it on your probes, because of course, if you scout this, you saw that he's droning up. He have 100 gas, so he's probably gonna make some links. But links speed will usually hit at 6:15 or 6 minutes, and as you can see here, from this moment, it will hit in 6.10. So it's very close. Around that time, the speed will be finished, which means Zerglings will be out. And really important note is of course that they, if he's going for a speeding attack, then it will hit at 5:30. So you need it to make a full wall on 5:30 if you expect a speeding all in. But I can see here from this drone that he's actually going for a expansion. Now it's really important, when you see a gas, you should take your gases too really quickly, because you can't push a Zerg with speed, because the Zerglings are so fast that they're gonna kill the pylon and then defend afterwards. So what you want to be doing is, you can make a sentry zealot attack, but you're not gonna have any proxy pylons, because if you have a pylon, as I said, they were gonna kill it and then they can defend afterwards, because Zerglings have the highest DPS in the game per mineral. So they're gonna be defending very easily, but mostly cost efficiently, and you don't really want to be trading Zerglings for sentries. So you're gonna wait till you have a lot of sentries, and that is why, as you can see, he have 2 gases compared to our 4 gases. And that's of course because a sentry costs 100 gas and 50 minerals. So as soon as you see that gas, you're gonna go gas heavy builds. You can of course go for the Oracle, now it's kind of supply block. We're gonna use the sentries to scout, but most importantly, you're gonna go gas heavy builds. So you can choose to go for a Stargate, but you're gonna of course also go for a Robo. And you should have at least 4 sentries when you push out. If you have 4, then you can make the funny flower force fields to surround your sentries. And of course, when you scout, you gotta check everything. Click on the buildings. You saw it was a road drawing. But here's an important note too. If it's Zerg, if you don't push a Zerg, then he sometimes doesn't even build units. So push a Zerg to scout. That is something people don't do a lot, because as you can see, he have a roach foreign and a evolution chamber, but he don't even have any roaches. He's not even building roaches. So it's really important when you play a Zerg player, you just gotta push them and force the units, because if you don't, he's gonna go Mutas or Hydras. And that is basically higher tech units, but you want him to be on low tech. And that is why when you have sentries enough, maybe 8 or 9. Actually, you can push with 5 too. If you have around the 5 and you have some zealots to support them, then you can go for an attack. And of course, roaches are strong versus zealots because they are melee and they are slow, while sentries they have low HP and they are ranged. So roaches are good versus sentries and zealots, and of course stalkers without blink. So when you have enough sentries, we have 8 now, and then 5 zealots. That's probably the moment you want to push, but you could of course push before that. The important thing is just that you make sure to push in the right time before a lot of units are here. Because as you can see, with the Oracle, we scout a roach roaring there, but there's no roaches. We don't see any roaches. So what we do is we push to scout. But don't be afraid to get surrounded, because remember, if you get surrounded, you just force field and pull back. So now we pushed into 9 roaches and 11 on the way, and we didn't lose a single thing. And that's of course why we push. Because now he's like, oh, I should have built Hydralisk, because as you can see, if we pause the game, he have Hydra then, but he doesn't have Hydralisk on the way. And that's because we pushed him, and he thought, alright, this guy's pushing with Zealot Sentry, I better build some roaches, because the roaches are way better at defending those. Because as you can see, roaches have 1 armor. Sorry. Roaches have an armor, and Sentry only deals 7 damage, which means it reduces a lot of the Sentry damage. And just an important note, when you're pulling back, you should have the higher ground. But I did a huge mistake by, as you can see, I didn't force field in time, so now some of the roaches got through. But when you disengage, you should have this ramp, because with three sentries or force fields, you can block this ramp completely. But instead, we are fighting in the open, and not even 3 sentries can save us. So that is why you want to be engaging on this ramp, because if you engage over here, then it's going to be way too difficult, and of course he's going to pull back. But the army composition you want to have against Mars roaches and Hydralisk, sentries to kind of reduce his DPS, because otherwise your army will just melt away. So you need sentries, and that is why we're going to build more sentries, because no matter how many units you got, you need sentries, because it's gonna, as I said, reduce the DPS outcome. And behind this you want Immortals and Colossus, because with Colossus you can kill all the Hydralisks easily and guarantee damage from a long range, while Immortals kill all the roaches. And of course sentries do their job with cutting the army in half. But just remember, you have to push to scout, and as you can see, we are completely in the blind. We don't know where he is. So we're gonna push to kind of force him, force his army. Because if you stay passively, then he's probably gonna go Vipers. And as you can see, he is going Vipers. So it's really good if you push as soon as you can. And this actually goes for Zerg too. If you're a Zerg player, get the high ground spread out and then fight. But here's a little trick for all the Protoss players out there. When you engage, you have to attack and actually pull back. You don't want to be pushing into them. You have to attack and pull back. So as soon as we engage, at this moment, we just engage. You want to be attacking and then pull back. So as you can see, we're pulling the Colossus back, we're shooting again, pulling back, shooting again, and then force fielding to cut the army, kinda. And this is how you want to engage all the time. Unless they have Vipers, then you're probably gonna go in immediately. So here is what we do. You want to be having still sentries, but not as many, because if you have too many sentries, you're gonna be moving in zealots. Shoot, pull back, and then you want to have stalkers so we can blink back. Time up on top of the army, and even though, as you saw, our army was way bigger, but we still pulled back, and that is why sometimes you can get a really bad positioning and then they can make a comeback. So it doesn't matter if you're ahead or behind, you still have to do this little micro trick. So as you can see, shoot, pull back, and because are the core units, the DPS in the army, and that is why we're gonna control them all the time. Because you don't know if he's remaxing on Mutaling, and of course the Colossus one-shot links with +2 attack. So it doesn't matter if you're ahead or behind, you have to micro it, because otherwise it could be a really bad, it could end up really bad. So this is how you engage Zerg, and just remember, if you don't know anything about the Zerg and you know you have a roach for, push to scout, because you are forcing a lot of units. Because if it doesn't make any units, then he will take damage from your push, and you can always recall or disengage and force field and pull back. So just remember to force units early game by pushing. But if you see a lot of units, then you should of course pull back. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more awesome StarCraft 2 content.